This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so these are the PostgreSQL parameters, the init parameters we generally heard in Oracle. Okay, if we compare with Oracle, so all these are the, we'll study how to change this parameter, where these parameters are located, and what are different types of parameter for different purposes. Okay, we'll give a brief overview for all those parameters. Okay, then so there is no, I would not say, if you're coming from Oracle background, that the variety is not that too much. Okay, so we don't have much scope. There are few parameters only, very less parameters as compared to Oracle. So configuration parameter that affect the behavior of your database system. All parameters are case sensitive. Okay, all parameters are case sensitive. So you can change the parameter at a cluster level. So you can change the parameters at a complete cluster level. Cluster level means the collection of your databases. Okay, with the alter system command. So you must be familiar with this command, alter system command. You can change it at a session level with the set command. You might remind that, you might able to recall that search path, when we were changing the search path yesterday, we were using set command to change the search path, because search path is also a session parameter. So I can change it at a session level. So I am able to change it at a session level for that. I was also able to use with alter user command. So I can also change parameter at user level. I can change the parameter at database level. Okay, so order of precedence is session, user, database, and cluster. Okay, the smallest is session. Okay, okay, I hope you understand this point, that if assume so any parameter,
A
maybe
user is
assumes,
above a database, no?
yes.
User and data, yeah.
You
So,
see,
but it
so
has a
assume
second
search path. I
bracket.
think search path is not changeable at database level. Anyways, I'm just taking example of search path. So search path, if change at the session level, okay, session level, the value is something like user one, okay, and now um, at the user level, the value is user two, okay. Now at the database level, the value is user 3. So this will be applicable at particular session. Okay, this will be applicable at particular session. Okay, so now assume this is not there, this session level is not there, then user level would be applicable. Okay, and user level is not there, the database level would be applicable. Okay, so this will override this, the above one. Okay, so this is the order, like order present is just session, user, and database cluster. You can see all the parameters from name, setting, context from pg underscore settings. Okay, this is the table to see all your parameters, and you can, the parameter can be changed at the runtime, and when you change at the runtime, you change with the alter system command. You can reload your parameter file with pgctl command, pgctl reload. I think we tried this as well. Or you have to restart your cluster altogether. Okay, let us see this.
So, uh, no. So, can you do that script command
Yeah, yeah, okay.
that way, and then you do the, then
Right,
you
right, right,
start it.
okay.
You can just exit it and then start the script, like start from the beginning, maybe. And then because that yesterday's file also, like we did it towards end,
Mm,
but I think that would be useful if you upload it.
okay. I didn't upload it yesterday, right? Okay, I will upload it today. Yeah, both the files. Okay, I did the script. Okay, okay. So you can see it like a name, comma. So you can just see the definition of PG settings. You can say name, setting. Then you have a description, short description, Okay. Meanwhile, I just telling you this, the important parameter, the important thing which you can look at. Okay. Okay. You can just see what all parameters we have available. Okay. And name, settings is the value actually. Okay. Or I just reduce it. I think min max is not required. Let us do only. Okay, you can even see over here the name of the parameter, then value, then context. Okay, context I will let you know. Context is the how you can change your parameters. Okay, you all want a restart or not a restart, postmaster effect. I'll let you know what all these values says. I'm not able to recall as of now. Okay, this user, postmaster, this has a significance. So I think these three are the major columns you can look at. Okay, for this, and or you can see your parameter file over here, postgres. See, okay, I need to go to this data directory of uh, you can see your file over here, all your file. So all the default option are anyways there. So these are what is it? These are comments. Okay,
What's the
so
file
this
name? Uh,
PostgreSQL.conf,
okay, and that is one file for the whole cluster.
one file for the whole cluster. Okay, so one file for the whole cluster. So you can okay, this is all commented. This is all commented. Okay, this is all commented. That means it's all default, all by default. Okay, all by default. Now if you want to change the parameter, don't just remove the comment. Don't just change it the parameter here. You have to remove this comment also. Comment means is that is all by default. Okay, so you have to change it as well over here. Okay,
Comment is it the parameter in effect or no? Not, no, like it is commented, no?
it is effective. Like if it is effective means it is default. It is default. It is not if so all the default parameters are commented over here. So by default it takes up this. Okay, the by default these are the
Oh,
settings for
okay,
Postgres.
okay,
Okay,
okay.
so if you want to change it, okay, you have to remove the comment also, and then you have to change the parameter.
What kind of parameters we need to change in day-to-day
Let me tell
work?
you. Okay. So change at the session level and user level. Okay, at a session level you can just say set default table space. Okay, you can change at a set default table space, or you can change the work memory at a session level. This is a command for a session level. Okay, so
The session level, can we save it or each time we need to set it?
each time we need to set it. So right now there is no default table space because default table space is the, so I can just say set what default what table space we were created actually. um, List of databases, and this is very confusing actually. Slash db is for list of table spaces actually. Okay, so we have tb1, so I can just say set default table space tb1. So now it will work only at this session level, and alter database db3. Okay, now for database I can I can just say alter database, and then similarly alter database set default table space is equal to tb1. Alter user, user we have u1, right? Set default table space. In this way, I can change this parameters. I can change this parameter. This is at the session level. Okay, this is at the database level. Now, for this database, the parameter has been changed. And now this is at the user level. At a user level also, I can change the parameter of default table space. By default, the pg underscore default is the table space. So by default it goes in the base directory, right? You know that. And if I want to change the parameter at now at a system level as a cluster level, I can say alter system set default table space is equal to tb. Okay, now alter system set default table space is to tb1. Now you will need to see whether this parameter is changed at the runtime or not. Okay, so this is the way it changes at the session level, user level. Now for database, there are different parameters you can change. There's some limitation of parameters you can change. You can rename your database. Okay, with this command itself, alter database name, rename to a new name, honor to a new honor, set table space to a new table space, set some configuration parameters which we did, or you can reset all also to default setting. You can change work memory. So work memory is something which we generally change. Okay, work memory is the session memory for particular session. It is a memory allocated just like a PGA in Oracle. Okay, generally we change the work memory. If your session is taking lot of memory, you can change the work memory over here.
And like if you by which command if you change the parameter can get
Mhm.
saved in the PostgreSQL.conf file? Like does it get saved back? Like so you do like a
Yeah,
command like a alter system or something here and get saved in the config file in the
yeah, I'm
parameter
coming to
file.
that. Yeah, I'll come to that point also. Okay, these are the parameters. Okay, so default table space, right? So default table space. Okay, so they are different. Okay, let us do about the cluster level. Okay, so alter system is a change at the cluster level. So alter system available from Postgres 9.4 and higher. It is used for changing configuration parameter across the entire database cluster. Alter system writes the given parameter settings to the PostgreSQL.auto.conf file. Okay, okay, now what is happening is, now if I see, so now this you can say, okay, you can see over here, this has been changed. Okay, this has been changed. Okay, so what happens is in addition to one more PostgreSQL.conf file, there is PostgreSQL.auto.conf file. You can see over here. I hope this is clear, right? User level and session level is clear.
Can you
Then I'll come.
explain just user level one more time? Session level was okay.
Session level is set command. User level is for the alter user command. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
we'll come to the some parameter are changeable at the user level, some parameter might not be changeable at the user level. Okay, I will come to those point as well. Okay, right now the command is clear, right? Alter user is for user level, alter database for database level, and set command is for the session level. Okay, you can see over here, this is the this one is the important. Set command is for the session level, user is for user level, and on database alter database at the database level. Okay, now the cluster level, the command is alter system. Okay, I will do an alter system. Some parameter will change at the runtime, some parameter may not change at the runtime. Anyways, if the parameter change at the runtime also, these parameters, whatever I change. Okay. Now if I open this file conf, I do a grep default table space. Okay. You see default table space is still empty over here. It is not specified here. Okay. I did an alter system. Parameter anyways is changed runtime, but you can say this is not there. So there is, because this is a text file, not a binary file like SP file, it cannot be changed at the runtime at the database level. Okay, if you do an alter system, it cannot write on an OS file. Okay, so it writes into an auto.conf file. You can see this file. I'm just a minute, just a minute. Okay, so this parameter has been added over here, auto.conf file. So what is the meaning of this is whenever cluster will restart, this auto.conf file, whatever parameters are there in auto.conf file will override all the parameters which are there in PostgreSQL.conf file. Okay. So if I add any manually, also if I add any parameter over here, auto.conf file, this will override my parameters in PostgreSQL.conf file. So any parameter that is changed at the cluster level, make an entry in auto.conf file. Okay.
So this entry will change during the next restart, right?
No, no, this has been changed in the runtime as well. Some parameter may not change at the runtime. This parameter has been changed at the runtime, but this auto.conf file will help to restart. Whenever I restart, it will read first PostgreSQL.conf file, and the next it will read PostgreSQL auto.conf file. Okay, whatever new parameters are there, because PostgreSQL, it will override that PostgreSQL.conf file.
Okay, okay. So that will happen at next restart.
Yeah, yeah.
So Arnav, one more question, that ampersand, right? What we have in Oracle, let's say like a prompt. Let's say we say that, hey, select username from DBA user, where username is equal to ampersand, whatever the username. What is that that ampersand over here, like prompt sign in PostgreSQL?
Prompt sign means I didn't got it actually.
No, he's saying the
Um,
interactive when you do dynamic SQL, so you
yes.
just write ampersand to accept the value. So like instead of typing
Achha, achha,
the
achha.
table space name, you just say
Ah,
ampersand table space name so that you
Yes.
can
ampersand.
input it.
Yeah, I
Okay, okay,
tried to
okay, okay.
search for it. I couldn't find it, like because some of the
Hmm.
queries can be written like that, right?
And the
For
bind
studying.
variable you're saying, right?
Yeah, something
As
like that. Yes.
I also not sure. As a DB, when you don't find a need, right? Uh,
So
you're correct.
did you restart the cluster so that we can see that effect of the system
Yeah,
parameter change?
yeah. I'm doing it. Just a minute.
Okay.
See, the default table space is at a user context. Okay. So now this context is coming into picture. Now this context is very important for us to understand. I will come back. I'm come back to review all the parameters which we have. So there are five kind of parameters. Okay, one, two, three, four, five. Okay, one is internal parameters. Okay, you will find the context in the column. Okay, you will find the context whenever you're changing the parameter. Just please see the context. At a user level, at a session level, you can change the parameter anyhow. But a cluster level, when you're planning to change the parameter, check the context. Okay, so if you check the context, the first is internal. Internal means what does internal mean? Internal means that it cannot be changed. Okay, it can only be changed at the source code. Okay, would be some internal parameters which can only be changed at the source code, at the coding level. Okay, so if I see where context, like, okay, there are some parameters just like a block size, data checksums. Okay, I don't know about other things. So val block size. So this block size you cannot change. Okay. So this is done is done. See val segment size. Val segment size told you 16 MB. Okay. This is also one of the parameter. We I think on the first demo session Ashutosh also asked this question, right? That can I change this parameter? Okay, I can change this parameter just before creating the cluster. Once cluster is created, I cannot change the 16 MB. And I told also that 16 MB is good size. Even we have having lot of switches just because of the small size, but we have to understand there is no multiplexing, so it is saving us from any failures. Okay, the smaller it is, better it is. Okay, so there are some internal parameter. Internal parameter means is once cluster is created, I cannot change this parameter. Okay, I can only change the parameter only before creating the cluster. Before creating the cluster, I can change this block size or data checksum size or data directory mode. I think this would be permissions kind of. Okay, I'm not sure about these parameters, but I yeah, this below two are self-explanatory. Val block size and val segment size. Val segment size is generally we are play around. We generally, if there is some requirement to improve the performance, we change this before creating the cluster. So one is internal, which we cannot change. Either we change the code, source code, or when we're creating a cluster, we specify this parameter. Okay. Next is the post master parameters. Okay. Let's have a look at the post master parameters. Okay. So these are all the post master parameters, just like archive mode. Okay. You must be thinking about archive mode, which we know, all know. Okay, cluster name, we can give a cluster name, but it is an optional, config file. Okay, data directory. Okay, data directory, you know that we created at a cluster level. We can change the data directory and then restart the cluster. So some parameters are there: hot standby, port number. Port number is also commonly used. If we have some port conflict, then we can change this port number. Okay, val level is replica or logical. Val buffer size. Okay. Mm, and shared buffer size, I think it is in
Now, is there a kind of advisory available in PostgreSQL the way we have in Oracle?
no, no,
Let's
no, no
say
advisory.
no advisory,
No
like.
advisory. No AW reports, no advisories.
Oh, okay,
See, nothing free is nothing, it is free, right? So no advisory actually.
okay, okay.
If you go for an EDB version, uh, then might be there is. Okay, this is the default is 32 MB. I think it is showing 16 MB. Not sure why. Actually, it is in KB, I think. Okay, fine. Anyways, I think this version, okay, 9 version has 16 MB. Okay, but it should increase anyways. Okay, anyways, I'll check on this. Okay, so these are the post master. Whenever you change this parameter, you have to restart your cluster. You have to that is a post master. Post master, you can understand, post master is your listener, right? It's a listener process, it's a post master process. So you have to restart your complete your cluster. Then the next kind of parameter comes psi up parameter. Okay, okay, you can just have a look on all those parameters. So see, the memory parameters are post master generally. Okay, memory parameter are generally the post master parameters, right? Memory parameter, you understand, whenever we have already allocated some 16 MB memory in the database, how can I make it 32 MB in the runtime, or how can I make it lesser than? I have to restart my cluster. So most of the parameters are runtime at a cluster restart. And also the archive parameter, whenever I change my archive level, I want to enable this archiving. Right now it is disabled in my system. There are most of the parameters are also at the cluster level. Okay, now comes the auto vacuum. Okay, auto vacuum parameters are at the SIUP. Okay, at the SIUP, and I have to change the auto vacuum start time. This all process auto vacuum we discussed, right? That this auto vacuum process keep on cleaning the dead rows. Okay, so these all process parameter, the timing. Then there is a background writer delay. Background writer delay means is for how many seconds it how many seconds it delays or it stops at for how much time, and then it will restart. Okay, this is background writer delay. For these parameter also you need a cluster reload. Okay, reload, it will reload this parameter file. The cluster will not reset, will not impact the cluster, will just reload this parameter file but not change at the runtime. Now comes the user level, user parameter. Okay, so these parameter which can be changed, these parameter can be changed. Okay, let's do first super user. So super user is a parameter which can be changed during runtime or using reload. Okay, but can only be changed by a super user. So super user parameter are those parameter which can be changed at the runtime and can be done only by the super user. Okay, but can be, some parameter might be need to reload also. Then there's a user parameter. User parameter also runtime parameter which can be changed at a user level, session level, and also at a cluster level, but these are at the runtime parameters. So our default table space which we changed, we were able to change the default table space at a runtime just because it was user level. Okay, it was a user level. Okay, now if I say you can just say, if I do alter system, what is the work memory right now? Okay, now anyways you can see work memory over here. Okay, work memory in this way, and you can see show uh, shared buffers. Okay, you can see 128 MB is the shared buffers. Okay, it was 128 MB. Okay, so I can do alter system. I can do today's Saturday, so a lot of my friends are calling me actually. Just give me a second. Mm, is it single quotes? Maybe. Okay. So I can change it over here, but okay. But if I see, it is still showing me 128 MB. Okay. It is not showing me 130 MB just because it's a postmaster level process. Okay. It needs a restart. Similarly, for SIUP processes as well. Okay. For SIUP as well, I need to just like if you want to change any SIUP, just like background writer delay. Okay, this is also parameter we can change. Generally we use this parameter during tuning. Okay, our background writer tuning, we change this parameter generally.
You said two things. One is restarting the cluster and reloading. So is there like
Reloading,
a difference? Like there
yes,
is a
there's a difference.
difference. No? Mhm.
There's a difference. There's a difference. Reloading and restarting. Restarting is stopping your cluster and restarting it. Okay. Let us first restart. Okay. So let's, our shared buffer is how much? It is 130, right? Now, if you see this file, Okay, not show actually. It is still showing 128 MB.
Yeah.
And PostgreSQL.auto.conf is showing 130 MB.
So that
130
makes
MB.
that change when you do that alter system, it
When
keep
I,
the change
huh,
there.
it keeps the change over there. When I do an alter system, it'll keep a change in PostgreSQL.auto.conf, not on PostgreSQL.conf. It will make a change over here in PostgreSQL.auto.conf, not on PostgreSQL. Now, when I restart, the files remains the same. Files remains the same, but it will read first PostgreSQL.conf, then it will read PostgreSQL.auto.conf, and it will overwrite it. Okay. So when I do a reload, I do a restart. I'll just say first stop -d. I think this command, anyways, is the cluster command. We already did this. Poses pgctl stop. So it is deallocating all in the cluster. Then I can restart it. Then I can start it. Okay. Now, if I go to this, now do a shared buffers. Okay, I can see 130 MB over here, right? Now it has been effective. Now this has been effective. Okay, now it has been 130, not 128 MB. Now it has been 130 MB. Okay, now we were talking about psi parameter, right? Psi parameter. So for psi parameter, which parameter we plan to do? Let's do this. BG writer delay. So BG writer delay.
And the internal are the only one we cannot change, no? After
I'm
the
sorry.
cluster is created, the internal
Internal ones we cannot
parameters we
change. We
cannot
cannot
change.
change. Internal one we cannot change.
So once the cluster is created, so you need to really think about it before creating a cluster. Otherwise, you have to recreate the whole thing, drop.
And then
Yes.
can you show that one that the log file parameter change in internal if possible?
Creating of, okay, you're saying the, while creating the cluster?
Yes, yes. I'm just
Yeah,
saying like
I will show.
wherever in the code, right, we change the log file parameter. I'm just saying like at least that, we know how to do it. Maybe I'm not saying like we will need to be, but at least if that is possible for you.
Sure, I'll show that. But you have to create a new cluster actually for that.
Amir, what you want to change? I did not get your question.
He what he's telling is, let's create a new cluster and change val segment size or val buffer size, whatever is our internal. Change the internal parameter. Try to change the internal parameter. This is what your question, right?
Yes or no? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
At least I
yeah, yeah.
just want to go through like we all will know that, okay, if we need to do that, this would
Hmm.
maybe the way to do it.
Right. Just like a block size, you can say. Uh,
Yes. Yeah, block size is another thing because if we talk about the warehousing, then block size may
hmm,
matter as well.
right. Yeah, no problem. We'll try that. Okay. So now I changed this to 250 ms, but still you can say it is still 200 ms, right? Okay. So what I'll do, I'll say pgctl reload -d. That is my data directory -d u01 db1. Yeah. Okay. It is pgctl is case sensitive. Okay. So I just say it is a server signal. So this file is loaded. Okay. File is loaded now. Now you can see over here also.
Is the reload is without outage?
Yeah, without outage. Without outage.
Because cluster start is with outage, no? Like
Yes,
everything
definitely.
goes down.
Yeah, everything goes down. Okay.
This is just like it's not runtime, like the way we reload the listener, like that we just reload this log, that kind of feature.
Yeah. So only your connection might break for a second or so once the reload happens. for less than a second. I would say reload doesn't take us much time. So your listener kind of would might be a restart of your listener kind of, or your post master process restart might happen, but it does not impact your connections. Actually, everything will work. I don't think it's an issue. Actually, reload you can do the runtime also. Okay, so you can see over here, even in that case also, when I change the bg writer, the change happened in the auto.conf. Okay, PostgreSQL auto.conf didn't happen in the uh, PostgreSQL.conf. Okay, PostgreSQL.conf still has shows 250 ms. Okay, it still shows 250 ms, 200 ms, and this one auto dot exchange other happened at 250 at the auto.conf. Now if I go to my database, now if you see this parameter has been changed. Okay, now it is showing 250 ms.
No, so you were just sharing like during the tuning process, we normally change the BG writer delay. So can you share like what was a little bit about the incident, like what we changed it or what was the incident, something like that?
Any incident is just like it is kind of, it is the delay, or kind of when your IO is very slow, kind of your IO is
Mm-hmm.
not responding much, so it's creating a blocking kind of thing. So if BG writer delay is the delay once he completes a write, and that second of delay after that, right? 250 ms is the second of delay for after that, after each write. Okay, after each write. So this is kind of a parameter, you can change it from here. Okay, you can
Okay.
reduce it, you can increase it.
So
It
basically,
depends on the
it's to throttle down, right, a little bit.
it's something that the load will increase, more IO load will increase if this parameter is very less. Okay, then the load
Mm-hmm.
on the IO would increase. So let's give some time and let's other process also write, kind of
Got it. Got it.
a log
Okay.
writer, other things. So then we can make it 200 ms, we can do 500 ms. Okay, kind of we can do 200 or 200 to 400, 500 we can do. Okay, and then
Mm.
see the performance. Okay, so this
Okay.
is how it depends. But now I think the new machines I talk about, maybe the machine we are talking about, because Postgres generally right now in the system is not a very critical system or not a very good hardware systems. Actually, we are not using it right now. Okay, so but in the new machine, it doesn't make a difference actually, whether hardware is very good or we are on the RAID or some new SSD disk. One doesn't make much difference. Okay,
Okay.
so these parameters, I hope you understand. I think this is the crux of this chapter. Okay, where the context values are important, how you change this parameter. Definitely there are a lot of parameters. We cannot cover every parameter in the slides, okay, or in the training. Maybe you can go through this parameter. I'll just go through the important parameter which you can look at. Okay, so these are the connection setting parameters, where you have listen address, where how which server you listen to by default is a local host. Okay, or you can specify your host name as well. Okay, okay, listen address, specify the address on which server is to listen. Okay, I'm sorry. So this is from where it will listen. Okay, from where it's listen, from where I generally specify star. If I specify star, it can connection can from any host. Okay, connection can from any host. You see this. Okay, so now right now I put it localhost. So by default it is localhost. That means right now I only can connect to this server. I only can connect to the server from this machine. I cannot connect from other machines. First, if I want to allow this to open for the world, I need to first put a asterisk sign over here. Okay, I have to change this parameter, listen address. Okay, so this is kind of a security aspect. You can say this also work will as a security aspect. What all host you want for your machine to connect to. So there is one more security actually in Postgres, where it will also, you can put your usernames, which user can connect to your Postgres. Okay, which users can connect, which database they can connect. So there is one more security which we'll cover later on, but not in this parameters chapter. This is one of the security, you can say, where you can put a firewall kind of feature where other cannot connect. Right now only localhost can connect over here. Okay, then is the port number. Okay, port number 5432, you can, the default port, you can change this port and you can restart your cluster. Maximum connections, maximum connection, the maximum number of connections that can make your database. By default it is 100 maximum connection that a cluster can support. A cluster can support. Default is very less value. Okay, you have to change this value in a real-time environment. Super user reserved connection, so default is 3, so 100 minus 3, okay, it will become 97 actually. Okay, total user connection actually is 97. Now super user means Postgres user or any user you have made super user. Okay, it will reserve 3 connections at least for that super user. So if there is any blocking, at least super user can connect and can troubleshoot, right? If there is any issue comes up, any hanging or such thing comes up, at least it has reserved 3 slots for the super user. Otherwise it doesn't need to restart a cluster. Okay, then there is a Unix socket directory. This is used for to be used for Unix socket connections to the server. Okay, maybe some default directory for temporary purpose and default directory for the default permission for the temp directory, that is 777.
So, Arnav, is there any background processes? Will that also be counted in that, like the way in Oracle, or those will not be counted?
Means
Like in Oracle, if we do right, username from $V session, the background
no, no, no,
processes
it
will
is
be
not
counted,
counted. Not counted. It is not counted.
not counted over here. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And this
There is,
socket connection, what is that? This socket connection?
I think this is storing some Unix what we say, Unix information, some default directory. By default, it is temp slash tmp.
Mm-hmm.
So some connection information, Unix sockets and connection information over here in this directory.
Okay.
Then the important parameter we generally work is shared buffer and work memory. So by default, we've seen around 130 MB, 128 MB, right? It is changing with the version. It was 32 MB, 16 MB earlier, 32 MB. Now it is as in PostgreSQL, it has been 128 MB. Okay, but it is surprising very less than what we have in other databases. Okay, and we have to generally change this parameter actually. So this is recommended to be set as 25% of your system memory. Okay, this is as per Oracle documentation, Postgres documentation, where it says is 25% of the system memory should be given to shared buffer. Okay, work memory, this is something different. Okay, work memory in PGA, what we do is we give a PGA, we give a complete like 1 GB, 2 GB, whatever the PGA is, 10 GB, whatever the PGA is, we given to all the like session memory complete. But here work memory is different for each session. I don't pre-allocate the PGA or I don't pre-allocate work memory. Okay, this work memory will come into picture when a session will connect. I think this is good. Okay, I also really like this feature, and we can change this work memory based on each session. Okay, we can change this PG or work memory based on each session. So by default it is 4 MB. Okay, and at a session level I can go ahead and change. At a session level I can go ahead and change. At particular session I'm connected to, I can change this work memory.
So Arnav, one question over here. Let's say if we have 100 users available and the 100 users are connected, work memory is 4 MB. So will it mean like the work memory total utilized by the cluster is 400 MB?
Yes.
Okay. And
So if there are, that is what is written over here. If 100 connections are made and 10 MB is the work memory, then total memory uses 1000 MB. Okay, almost 1 GB. Okay,
and
or
any
almost
other memory that except that any user process, like the user process A is, will it take any other memory as well, like the 100 user processes which are on the system?
no.
Or like let's say right in Oracle it takes 10 MB or 15 MB per user process from the to interact to create the process on the host itself and to connect to the server.
So
Like
it is specified
basically,
anywhere.
sorry.
It is not specified anywhere.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so but if in case you type a command of analyze or you type a command of vacuum, then it becomes a different. Okay, then it becomes a different. Otherwise each session take a work memory, but uh, if you say vacuum and other things, then there is one more memory allocated. Okay, that this is one this auto vacuum work memory. Okay, auto vacuum work memory when executed by auto vacuum. So if auto vacuum is there, then it is different. Okay, auto vacuum takes up a different memory. Okay, auto vacuum is the process which is automatically running, right? So size of the memory used by the maintenance operation when executed by auto vacuum. Okay, now this is the memory used by sort operations. Okay, then there is an uh, maintenance work memory. I think, just a minute, I think I need to change this, sorry. Actually, I don't know how come it has become a backspace, so it went to the last line. So there is maintenance work memory. So whenever you are doing any vacuuming or re-indexing, rebuilding of indexes, then it is different. Okay, this will not come inside work memory. So that default is 64 MB. Okay, so this is work memory is till the time when you're doing normal operation, you're doing select statements or you're doing whatever you're doing. But whenever you type a command vacuum, or whenever you type a command re-index, which is just like a rebuild of index, then it defaults to 64 MB. Okay, then it comes under auto maintenance work memory. Okay,
And normally, how much we may take this maintenance work
how
memory?
much?
Like normally, like in a running system in production, is that a 10% of that, or like if, how much we normally take?
Work memory, you're saying?
Maintenance work memory.
Maintenance work memory, we generally increase actually whenever we try to do a vacuum. Just weekends we do auto vacuum or vacuum. We can
Yeah.
just try and increase it.
Like
And
Arnav, is it possible like a kind of like a template or something, a parameter, like if possible for you in next any of the session, if you can share us, and like, hey, 25% of this is the buffers and then this much of memory, just a general idea. Now 5% we have allocated to temp buffers and 15% we have allocated to maintenance buffers. At least that, it will maybe have a little better idea of how to utilize it.
okay, 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 yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, not immediately, maybe Monday, or I'll plan. I'll do it. I will do it. I will share you
Okay,
the
thank
like
you.
the real time. You're saying what memory generally is given in the real
Yes,
time, right?
yes,
That's what.
yes. It will give a
Yeah.
better idea. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So temporary buffer, size of temporary buffer used by temporary tables before swapping on the disk. So you have seen this temporary tables. If you create any temporary tables, then it goes into a different memory that is known as temp buffers. Only if you create a temporary table. Okay. Otherwise, this is not allocated. So only work memory is a memory which is allocated whenever you connect to a session. Whenever you make a session, it will all automatically allocate your 4 MB. Now, if I say I do a command create temporary table, it will create one more temporary buffer for me at MB. If you do type a command vacuum, it will create another 64 MB for you. Okay. Otherwise, it will not create. Otherwise, it will not allocate. Okay. Otherwise, it will not allocate. Okay. So temporary files are the files when you create any temporary tables, or if even if you're doing some sorting and hashing kind of operations, then it memory, it goes into temporary buffers and also into the work memory. But what if the work memory or temporary buffer is not sufficient enough to hold that space? Then it will go ahead and create temporary files in the disk. Okay, under PG data, that is a data directory under base directory. So what is base?
Yeah, the global uh,
The default table space.
default directory.
Yeah, default table space is base. It will create one more directory under that, which is known as pgsql.temp. Okay, which is not there right now. pgsql undergo temp, and it will put all the files over here. But the good point in Postgres is it will delete all those files once the session is done. Okay, once you exit from that session, it will automatically purge those files. It will not stay over there in the disk. Okay, it will purge that file. It will not keep on increasing it. So there is not a separate table space, not a separate directory for your temporary things. We'll create a directory or a folder into this same base directory and start putting the file with the name of pgsql_tmp. You can see this file name. Maybe I can make it bold. So this is the file.
If you're
Can we
saying like
create
it
it
gets deleted, no? Like,
Yeah, yeah, automatically will get purged. Once the session is exist, it will automatically get purged. Where pp is the PID. PP is the PID of the session, okay, of the backend process, or you can say session, and then distinguishes different temporary files. So PP, that this is also, you can figure out where PP is the PID. Okay, where PP is the PID of the owning backend, and NN is distinguish the temporary file. So this is just a sequence, NNN is a sequence. So this is the query. You can check from PG stat database how many temporary files in my disk is, how much space they are taking in my disk. Okay.
Can we create it in
Next,
another disk and say that you create a link that the way we create for a table space for temp TB for temp table space as well?
I'm sorry.
The way we create another table space, right? We can create it in another file system, and there will be a link get created to the link directory, right? Can we create it like that as well? This temp directory,
Uh,
because otherwise this file system will be full, right? And we have to take care of this as well before designing it.
this file system would be full. See, internal sorting and hashing, you cannot do it actually.
But let's say we cannot ask user that not to do it, right? If the user is using is will be in a different position, the cluster will be down. Like this
Mm.
PG database, right?
See, if I'm creating any temporary table, I can put a table space name. Okay. But if some
Mhm.
users are doing sorting, hashing, and it is going to create temporary data in the table space, I cannot stop it actually. I don't think so. There is any
Yeah,
way you
yeah.
can
We,
stop
we
it.
cannot
In the,
stop it. My
no,
only
we cannot stop. I don't think when we can move the table space to some other location actually. We cannot say
Mhm.
temporary data is moved to some other location. If
Okay.
somebody is doing sorting and hashing, a lot of sorting and hashing or group by clauses or order by clauses are there in the queries, it is going to create temporary files. Okay, but if you want to move this temporary file to some other table space, not possible, I would say. Not possible. There is no
But
such
we can
option
find that
actually.
some user is running this query. That is possible, right?
That is possible. That is
Okay.
possible. You
Okay.
have in the PG stat database, you can are able to find the temporary data, and maybe if we check the definition of PG stat database, okay, you have lock reads, conflict, temporary files, temporary bytes. Okay, you don't have session information here actually. Dat ID is the name of the database. Backends. Okay, maybe we can find out. Let me check it out if we can find out. We can find out how we can find out the temporary data is created by which user. There would be some way. In the session details, we might be able to find out. There are some PG stat activity table as well, where we might able to find out.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, fine. So I think we'll come temporary files we done. We talk about val parameters actually. Okay, this will take more time actually. We'll talk about val parameters. Okay, this is also important how to enable your archiving. Okay, this is more important actually. We'll take another 1 hour. Okay, let us end up the session now. Okay, and maybe